Hello there guys, and welcome back to our car modeling tutorial. And today in this episode I think what we'll do is we'll work along the hood, maybe touch on the wing, but definitely want to try and get along the top and down the roof. In the last episode we had a look at putting all of this area together here. I had another look and it does look like there is some extra going down here, which we'll need to address at some point. I'm not sure if we'll do that today, but actually, yeah, maybe we'll do that first. So we'll address the kind of issue that's going on around here, and then we'll move on to the trunk, the hood. First, though, let's just grab all of this. I'm going to hit Control D, Control G, and then on the scale up here, I'm going to hit -1 in the scale X, just so that we can kind of see what's going on with the model here. And we can see straight away that we're going to want to get some stuff snapped, so I'm going to just move these, holding X, snap these to the center here, and do the same with this point just to get those closed up. Just going to do that again then real quick. What we would do a little bit later on when we start getting into the details is we will just duplicate special, which means that we can this side will just edit as this one does, but because we're going to be extracting and combining, it's just going to reset itself every time. So we'll just wait for now. I missed another one under here. Let's just grab that. So yeah, eventually we will do a duplicate special on this, but not just for now. What we're going to do then with this is, let me just firstly drop a I'm going to go on the multi-cut tool here, and we're just going to drop a vertices here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to actually draw a line through this time. So we're just really going to join this whole section here up to a whole line, rather than just having it kind of its own independent piece. So maybe the best way to go about this would actually be just to remove what we have down here as is. Let's just remove this whole portion here, including what we have up here too. And I'm just going to grab these here two edges, and we're going to bridge, and then I'm going to insert an edge loop, so it's going to run nicely all around there, which will allow me now to bridge here and select these edges. I'm just going to hit G, as G is the previous tool, and let's quickly tidy up what we have going on down here. So we're going to do something like this instead. So rather than having those extrude in, we're going to do something like this. So what I'm going to do, based on my reference images here, is I'm going to grab all of these and I'm going to extrude all of those up, like so. Maybe something like that. And then I'm going to extrude this one as we did before. And we're going to come up here. I can't see on the reference images of anything on the top side. It doesn't look like there's the same kind of effect on the top side, which is fine. So what we'll do for this is we'll just grab this bit here, we'll just extrude down. I'm just going to do exactly the same as we did to meet the ones before. And we're going to grab these, and we're going to target weld them real quick. Let's go here. Probably not the best one to start with, but we'll go here, here, and here. And then it's just going to be a case again of just kind of quickly making that shape. Like I said, I haven't modeled this before. It's the first time with me doing it myself, so there's bound to be a few things that I'll notice in between videos of what we could do to improve it a little bit. Let's get in our side view here. Something like that. I think I need to grab it all. See, I'm just going to grab all of these and just rotate them slightly so they're a little bit straighter. We can come back here, bring that out something like that, and then we'll do loop a little bit further up here. And again, I'll bring this a little bit better into position. And something like that, that'll be fine for now. But that just means now that we're going to have this kind of raised section ahead, which is going to form up nicely into that. That will eventually curve around into a nice little curve. Again, that's something that we'll think about when the time comes, because when it comes to smoothing things, a lot of the software will do that for us. And then finally, I'm just going to remove that extra face there, and I think just in the interest of when we come to do that, we'll just do that already. So we've got the same spot, but this time we've got a little bit of a lip, and I suppose it'll probably be a little bit cleaner when it comes to actually setting that to smooth, so that's fine. Okay, so we're looking good. So now let's think about the hood and how we're going to go up and along this. So I think what we'll need to do is, we've already thought about our geometry to some extent. I've got quite a few lines, so let's just send it. Let's go for a edge. I'm gonna just grab all of these like absolute like top pieces here. I'm gonna hit Control E again to extrude, and we're gonna bring this up here. So I'm gonna start with my front view. For the most part, we're looking good. Let's go in here. Let's bring this all the way back there. So let's firstly bring these all into position. We can see that it's a fairly straight shot from the front to back here, which is going to make life really easy a little later on. Let's bring that over here, around there. And then we're going to try and use the front view the best we can here to kind of get a nice tapered section going across here. And drop that one down there. So we can see now it looks a little bit high in this view, so let's maybe try and meet in the middle, maybe go to the underside of this line and brings us about to the right spot. Let's maybe bring that there. So okay, so we're looking okay. What we're going to want to think about now is we are going to want to think about this line that travels down here, and there's multiple things that we could do. If I get my reference images here, we can see that this whole section is kind of risen compared to our crease that runs down here, and it's quite an organic shape as it runs around there. So something that I would probably be tempted to do is to do an initial extrusion of the center, but then keep that center section kind of running down this point. So what we'll maybe do actually is I'm going to grab an edge loop and I'm going to drop it around here. And in this view at the side, I'm just going to pull that up so it's much and such in the correct spot. And then I will grab, if it's going to let me switch, I'll grab these faces up here. I'm just going to delete those. So we're going to run to about that point there just now. What I also want to do at this point is I'm going to try and match some lines that we have here. So I'm going to go insert edge loop. Let's think about our center point here. So I'm going to drop one, which is roughly at our center point. I'm going to pull that up into position. Maybe this one wants to drop down a little bit, and this one too. And I want this all to be somewhat flat just now. I want to kind of eradicate that hood scoop. We don't really want to think about the scoop just now. Let's go for another edge loop at the front here, which is just in front of the scoop. Maybe drop it at the top view there. That looks looking good. And then we can pull that up a little bit there too. I think just for now we'll just maybe go for one more in between. So we'll just drop one in here somewhere, which could correlate nicely down here, and we'll bring that up too. So it's important to kind of like make sure we're maintaining that smoothness as we go up here. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to kind of ignore the shape just now. So I'm going to grab all of the kind of faces that are correlating with that scoop. I'm going to hit Control E, and I'm just going to pull all of those up just now. So I've kind of got that scoop going along here. The only real thing we're going to do to this is I'm going to grab all of these portions here and just move them along just like so. So they're sitting nicely along this kind of path here. So we've got the kind of general shape, and then we don't need these faces there. So again, I've got a nice scoop going up and through there. We don't want to worry about the kind of front of it too much just yet. We could kind of match the shape here. If we grab these frontal ones, we could pull these back and up, and then we'll just get those again to kind of match that, because we are wanting quite a low detailed base to get started with, but the more work we do just now, the better it will be. So we'll grab those. I'm not feeling this, to be honest. I feel like this is a little bit too high. So let's drop that down. Maybe bring this one a little bit higher. So what I'm going to do now, I think, is I'll grab this edge here, and I'm actually going to then now follow this section around. So I'm going to grab the extrusion and then just kind of position and move this around as we go. We can see that's following there quite nicely. We hit Control E again, and I want to do this in as few kind of extrusions as possible, just so that we don't have a crazy amount of geometry. We can see there that this line should tie in nicely to that one. If I do another one along here to tie in nicely to this line there, because again, we're just thinking about how the geometry is going to flow, and then we'll bring this one up here. Now with that done, we can grab these points, just do our best to kind of make the shape. Something like this. That should follow along there quite nicely. We can see here that it does start to kind of dip towards the back here. So we'll bring these down. And then what we'll do at this point is we'll just try and smooth that curve off, like so. So we've kind of got that shape there again. That'll smooth out. If not, we can add a little bit later should we need to. But what we'll be able to do at this point is we can now grab these edges here, and we can go to mesh, edit mesh and bridge those. We can do the same with this one, and we can do the same with this one, just hitting G to repeat those there. We could, if we wanted to, just try our best to tidy these up. So we'll just have maybe that line tapering off to that left hand side there, and then the rest flowing around there quite nicely. And then as we come back in here now, we can bring this one all the way to the back, because that should form there quite nice. But what we'll do is we'll actually make a stop here, part of the way, and I'm going to target weld those portions together. And that realistically means what we can do is we can grab all of these now, because we know they're roughly in the right spot, and then we can pull them to make the end of the hood here. And then obviously just dial these back, and I think what we might want to do here is we might want to weld this one back on. So we'll finish with a little triangle here, but that's no big deal just now. So we've got nice aggressive hood in there. We can see that we've got that scoop laid out. It's following that path quite nice. As it comes to the end here, we only actually have one outlet, which is nice. That's going to translate nicely across the kind of brim of the window there. We can see here that we're going to have a line that feeds to most of these quite nicely. Maybe another one in there, filling in the wing, which is looking pretty good. Let's see. I think what we could do at this point, maybe just tidy this up a little bit on this side view here. Bring this down, because we can see that this, for the most part, is sitting quite high. Something like that. And let's push that over here. And then we can see that they're sitting a little bit high as well. So we're just going to dial this in, just so that we're not going too crazy. Okay. So we've got a nice aggressive hood. So I think what we'll do just now is let's try and think about the shape of the car, and let's actually run up the window here. Easiest way to do that is it looks like we want to get these aligned like so. We could add more in there and a little bit. It's not too big of a deal just now. But I'm just going around. I just want to double check that all of the pieces here are nice and smooth. Nothing's kind of popping up too high. It's going to give us wavy geometry when we start moving on here. Okay, so let's start thinking about the actual height to this car then. Let's grab this most triangle section here, and let's take this up to the top of the window frame here. And again, it's a fairly simple A-pillar that we have up here. We can see that it kind of comes up and it has a little bit of an extra when we get to the top here. So we'll extrude that in to kind of incorporate that, and we'll just kind of run a double line down the side here. It should be fine. I'll add a bit more geometry in here in a little bit, but let's have let's take this all the way up here, something like that. So now what I'm going to do, again, I'm thinking about the geometry here, because I don't want to just extrude this and add as many as I want. I want to think about, you know, how many should I really have for the door. I want to make sure that I'm aligned with the door. I want to make sure that I'm going to have enough detail to come running down the back here, but I also want that to be able to intersect nicely with the top section here. So we really need to think about adding as little as possible before we go too crazy. So I'm going to hit Control E again, and I'm going to go, just to help with this curve, hit Control E again. I'm going to come all the way along for this door, Control E again, to the top of the pillar here, and then Control E one last time, and we'll take it all the way. Actually, no, let's follow the frame down. Let's do something like that. Now I'm just going to have a go at straightening these out a little bit. I'm going to have this line kind of reflect the line that we have going down there, in between the glass. We've got this line over here. The roof is more or less very flat. Again, quite nice. And we'll actually bring this all the way down here, something like that. That might be quite nice. Okay, so you can see we've got the roof shape. So if we go into our top view now, we can go through, just make sure that we're sitting where we should. And we can see that again, our blueprint is quite a ways off here. Let's also just reduce this a little bit here. Something like that. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these edges. I'm going to hit Control E, and I'm going to just move them so that they align nicely with the kind of gutter section on the roof here. I can kind of use that to maybe just drop that here. I'm trying to think what we might actually do is, rather than run down the side like that, maybe we'll just keep running all the way to the end here. It might make it just that little bit cleaner. It means that we have more control, less geometry running down this side. So maybe we'll actually do that. So I'm just going to delete those ones because it will be much easier just to remake them than it will be to try and kind of fight them. So let's get these into position here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them into position on the side here as well. There's no point in causing a little bit more work. So let's grab these. I'm just going to pull them up ever so slightly. Pull those up there. And maybe here, I think it just needs to be a little bit higher. Something like that. And again, we'll check the perspective. We don't want it to be like crazy. So I'm going to grab all of these now, hit Control E. And I'm going to take all of this, again, just square it off. I'm going to hold down X and snap that to the center. So we've got kind of the roof line inside there, which will allow us now to kind of push that up as high as it needs to be. Again, we want to think about our windscreen. So we want to make sure that these lines are tying up nicely. So we have 3 lines inside here. We also already have 1 there theoretically, but I think what we'll do is we'll add 3 more. So I'm going to insert Edgeloop, and I'm going to do these one at a time. I'm going to try and get them roughly in the same kind of position. And I'm just going to hit G, which will allow me to use my recent tool. I'm just going to pull it up as I go, like so. And then finally, before we stop, let's just grab these, pull them forward. Again, thinking about the curvature. Don't need to worry about that one too much because we can quite easily drop in another point inside there. Got the roof there too. Right, so I think we're looking good. So I think what we'll do is we'll stop that there for today. I think in the next episode what we'll do is we'll continue to work down the back of the roof there, maybe onto the top of the boot lid or the trunk. And then once we've done that, I think we'll then get this wing all joined up nicely and then start to think about working our way back around the rear of the car. So if you enjoyed the video today, guys, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down, and I will see you in the next one.